Andrew's tragic Christmas plans as controversial delivery arrives at house having lost this royal titles and being forced to leave his home. Disgraced Andrew Mountbatten Windsor looks set to spend Christmas in exile at Royal Lodge while the family gather in Norfolk. Christmas this year will be specially bleak for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Not only has the disgraced royal been banned from the family celebrations at Sandringham, but he is also facing the prospect of his final festive holiday at Royal Lodge, his home for the past 20 years and his refuge from the world in recent days. Having lost his titles and his mansion, disgraced Andrew has been holed up at the 30-room lodge with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson. But the pair are said to live completely separate lives, only seeing one another for meals where they discuss their dwindling prospects. A source told The Sun, "They have been heard having some pretty intense conversations about what is going on. Sarah, in particular, is panicking about what comes next and she is not in a good place. She fears being caught in the crosshairs and is worried about herself and her and Andrew's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. But she is particularly fearful for Andrew as she knows he was at the center of the Epstein scandal. She has talked about dark forces potentially targeting him." Eyebrows were raised, therefore, when a consignment of champagne was seen being delivered to Royal Lodge on Friday. A delivery van driver was photographed handing over 6 bottles of Devoe champagne, costing £35 each, to a member of staff who met him outside the gates. Notably, the ex-prince is teetotal and is said to have not drank any alcohol since he was a teenager. It's not known exactly when Andrew and Fergie will be kicked out of Royal Lodge. Buckingham Palace confirmed the removal of his titles and his eviction in a statement released on the 30th of October. It came amid public outrage and fury over his relationship with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and accusations he had sex with Virginia Giuffre when she was a teen. Andrew continues to deny allegations against him. It is understood that he will move to a property on the Sandringham estate, and that his new accommodation will be provided by the king, who will foot the bill. The estate is privately owned by the monarch, rather than owned by the Crown estate. It seems likely that Andrew will relocate after Christmas to avoid any awkward run-ins with the rest of the royal family. It is thought that his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, will attend the Sandringham Christmas at the king's invitation. But what of Andrew? According to reports, Sarah is considering invitations from friends, and could even spend the festive period abroad, leaving Andrew alone in Royal Lodge. However, while the family are keen to distance themselves from the disgraced ex-duke, they reportedly don't want him to be left completely by himself. It has been suggested that his brother Prince Edward, 61, or sister Princess Anne, 75, could potentially step in, amid discussions with royal aides. Royal expert and biographer Ingrid Seward said, "It is a very difficult situation with Andrew and Christmas. But I cannot see them leaving him on his own, someone will scoop him up. Christmas is one of the biggest events in the royal calendar, with the whole family stepping out in force for the morning walk to church." Andrew's expulsion from the celebrations only serves to further highlight his complete fall from grace, and he will also be excluded from the family's lavish pre-Christmas lunch at Buckingham Palace, considered a treasured tradition for the Windsors. Andrew was also forced to pull out of the lunch last year amid backlash around his connection to an alleged Chinese spy. He and Sarah spent Christmas together quietly at Royal Lodge, and while their younger daughter Princess Eugenie also didn't join the public-facing walk to church on Christmas, their elder daughter Princess Beatrice did. What Andrew will do this year remains to be seen. He might choose to spend a final Christmas at Royal Lodge, although that's not as pitiful as it sounds. Far from living in disgrace, Andrew is still said to have an unbelievable level of entitlement, and insists on HRH titles at home, and making his staff bow or curtsy. Rob Shooter's #Shooter Scoop reports that actually nothing has changed inside Royal Lodge. A household insider said, "The butler still says Your Royal Highness, and the staff still bow." Andrews made it clear, palace rules don't apply inside his walls. He insists it's his birthright, not something the king can erase.